Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood. Welcome to another episode of My Two Satoshis. It is April 16th, 2019. Shout out to my man Rude Mud Crab for this one today. Presets, all my people rocking to some alternative rock today, people. I would assume it is. I don't know. But hey, you send me that request in, I'm playing it, people. Make sure, again, if you're going to send a song request in going forward, please make sure you hashtag song request in the comment. That way I will pick it up. Other than that, it's not being picked up. So if you've already requested a song, you're good. Don't have to worry about it. We're back to our regularly scheduled song pick of the day queue. So those who have requested songs, we're back on track, people. Just make sure you look out for it. And I give you a shout out when I get to it. But what's good, people? Hope you guys are doing well today. On this episode of My Two Satoshis, we're going to be looking at an article out of AMB Crypto about Craig Wright. It's this drama about this guy and being banned and delisted from all of these different exchanges. It's getting out of hand, people. I'm just telling you. I was talking to someone about it earlier today. It really just is getting out of hand. And Craig Wright has put out a rebuttal on Medium about this whole censorship and delisting. And you know what? I got to agree with him. As crazy as he is, as crazy as Calvin Eyre, whatever his name is we have to differentiate and separate our feelings and moral compass and whatever you want to call it from cryptos, because that's the whole point of cryptography. We don't need subjective opinions in this. It's all black and white. It's binary. It's, the whole saying is don't trust but verify. And that's how it should be all across the board. There's no room for morale in this game. It should be based all off of mathematics and cryptography. That way it's just cut and dry. It's because everyone's opinions, they're going to be different. It depends on what side of the world you're on, what culture you're in. All of that is subjective. So truth to one person is not going to be truth to another. And so we're dangerous. We're really, to me, messing with a very sticky topic. And again, some of the comments in yesterday's video was saying that, Binance can do whatever they want to do. It's a privately held company. Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that. But the merit on which they delist that coin, to me, just goes against cryptocurrencies in general and this decentralized environment we so-called are in, because we're doing nothing different than, again, what I said yesterday. We're doing nothing different than the oligarchs and kleptocracy that we see within our governments around the world now. If we're going to be dictators and say, oh, he offended this person, so we're going to take him off of a coin listing. So we'll see what this guy, crazy ass Craig Wright, has to say in response to the delisting of his coins. And again, let me just reiterate, I think that guy is crazy. But again, the same reason you allowed the coin to be put on the exchange should be the same reason that you disallow it to be on the exchange. It should be strictly technical. No additional subjective stuff. This just shows us really where we are from a ethos perspective in cryptocurrencies. Second article is about Russia. Looks like there's rumors about them having a gold-backed crypto. And this article out of Bitcoin is posing the question of whether or not a Russian gold-backed crypto would be better than Bitcoin. Spoiler alert for me, I'm saying no. And I'll explain why after we read this article. But first, let's take a look at this market cap, because we did get a little bump. We're at $176 billion. Bitcoin's dominance is at 52.21%. up from yesterday. Normally, I would say this is not a good sign. Bitcoin's dominance starts heading higher. That means that people are getting a little uneasy about what's going on in the markets. The higher the Bitcoin dominance is, normally the lower the price is, as speculators flee the altcoins and pile into Bitcoin again as a pseudo safe haven play, if you want to call it. So again, we're defending that line, as you can see here. Let's see if we can keep that going and take out this area here. We're just about there now. So the first article is out of AMB Crypto and is about Craig Wright. His claims that Bitcoin is infested with censorship as Binance delisting mauls BSV. It says here Bitcoin was created as a means to fight government censorship and to promote financial freedom, but according to its opponents, it is a bastion of curtailment. Craig Wright, the self-proclaimed Satoshi Nakamoto, has reignited the Bitcoin censorship claim at a time when his project BSV is being silenced from major exchanges. Prior to the delisting announcements, Craig penned yet another attack on Bitcoin via a blog post titled Bitcoin and Censorship. He began to post by referring to the top cryptocurrency as a fraudulent scam and as the airdrop altered form of Bitcoin code designed to confuse the ignorant investor. Through this post, the in-chain chief scientist aims to portray the omnipresent threats that surround Bitcoin and its level of resistance against the same. Wright stated that the first time a soft fork was implemented, Bitcoin was eroded. He added that the core reason for Bitcoin being prone to censorship was the susceptibility of the coin to have its stable protocol altered. He even referenced the white paper, claiming once again that he authored it, mentioning the segment about the 51% attack and the options presented to the spearhead of such an attack. Given this resolute nature of the nodes in the network and the ability of the protocol to remain firm, he stated, the only way that Bitcoin can express censorship resistance is to have a stable protocol. With a stable protocol, what may be temporarily censored today, for whatever reason, can always be replayed later. Wright mentioned the pay-to-script hash transaction as being the worst addition and breach of the Bitcoin protocol. He added that these same transactions could be supervised, creating situations where the invalid transactions could be incorporated into the blockchain. Craig Wright went on to emphasize the importance of censorship and added that since Bitcoin fails at the same, Bitcoin was not Bitcoin and is all about censorship. Coincidentally, Wright's tirade against censorship comes at a time when his project Bitcoin SV is being shown the door by several cryptocurrency exchanges. Binance has delisted the coin following CZ's threat to the BSV community last week. Shapeshift has also stood by Binance, affirming their decision to delist, while Kraken put out a poll on the same, receiving an overwhelming response to delist, mentioning the coin's toxic nature. Despite pegging themselves on a censorship-free advocacy wave, Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre have not taken too well to crypto influencers, calling the former a fraud. The duo has dropped legal notices to the likes of HODLNOT and Peter McCormick for their aforementioned fraud claims. And before we move on to the next article, I do want to just highlight the part about the pay-to-script hash that Craig Wright talks about being the worst addition and breach to the protocol of Bitcoin. Check out the actual article he wrote on Medium. He talks exactly about that here, maybe about halfway down the post. He says, in the worst addition and breach of Bitcoin protocol, P2SH, such an insecure alteration allowed miners to be taken out of the equation. The contents of the transaction using P2SH can now not be checked and validated. Consequently, transactions that are invalid may easily be incorporated into the blockchain. More importantly, transactions that are valid can be made invalid. And this was part of the whole SegWit upgrade to the protocol. I encourage you guys to go kind of check out the whole P2SH protocol upgrade, which is part of the SegWit upgrade to the network. If you're really interested into the technical side of things, it does pose some serious questions about that whole situation, but to me it's just all about how you try to communicate your differences, and I think Craig Wright fails at that like big time, and so does Roger Ver. So and maybe they should hire a PR firm to really take control of their image and branding if they really truly want to get their points across. But interesting take by Craig Wright. Again, I do not think he is Satoshi Nakamoto, and he is going about it all the wrong ways. If you are not a technical person and don't understand the ins and outs of the Bitcoin protocol, then how can you personally come to a conclusion about which is the right coin? I think it's herd mentality if you don't have a clear understanding about it. If you're not technical, then just say you're not technical and you don't know, and you're just going with what the herd is saying is Bitcoin. A lot of the people out there defending Bitcoin Core and calling Craig Wright's Bitcoin fake and a fraud is and you're not technical, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just following the herd. He should have the right to feel the way he wants to feel about things in this crypto space. right or wrong? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about his Medium post as a response to him being delisted from Binance and Shapeshift. And Kraken is also on the verge of delisting them as well. This is going to be interesting, man. I'm telling you. Interesting times here in the crypto world. Second article is about Russia. Out of the Bitcoiners, it says Russia's gold-backed crypto would lose to Bitcoin, says Kremlin economist. I have to agree with the Kremlin economist on this one. Article starts off by saying Russia was the biggest buyer of gold last year and has quadrupled its gold reserves over the past decade. In fact, the country has ramped up its buying spree in the recent years, in particular after U.S.-led economic sanctions were imposed in 2014. Notably, Russia's central bank added 651.5 metric tons in 2018, 75% higher than in 17. China is showing similar behavior, buying 32.95 tons of gold in Q1 of 2019. So why are the two neighboring superpowers so bent on boosting their gold reserves? Bruno Macias, former Europe Minister of Portugal, says while there is no formal coordination, the two countries can expect mutual benefits in undermining the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. The sheer size of the purchases might reveal bolder motives, with Moscow preparing its first salvo in the coming battle for a monetary reset, he says. But Bruno also suggests that this potential reset could have ulterior motives. These moves come at a moment when gold has become attractive as the anchor for new experiments in digital currencies. Gold and crypto are a marriage made in heaven, combining the stability of gold with the convenience and security of the blockchain. These digital tokens would circulate on a global online platform and would be entirely backed by gold reserves held in an international trust, insulating them from state interference. Interestingly, he notes that the private financial institutions would be responsible for creating these gold coins and would therefore ultimately control the supply. At the same time, transactions would be peer-to-peer. However, the former EU minister displays only superficial knowledge of blockchain technology. For one, calling it a blockchain doesn't automatically make the network convenient, let alone secure. Secondly, the node software must be distributed between peers all over the globe. It cannot be limited to a few data centers operated by a handful of private institutions. Such a scheme reintroduces central points of failure, making it a cryptocurrency in name only. In other words, one can't just flip a switch to activate a secure and trustless blockchain. It takes years, if not decades, for the network effect to make it viable and valuable. So the Kremlin's economist Vladislav Ginko said that gold is a U.S.-based asset, and in the experience of Venezuela has shown that in a case of severe financial U.S. sanctions, Russia might also face the sale of gold, which would be impossible since such a deal would require USD-denominated transactions. Bitcoin, on the other hand, it says, has been battle tested over a decade. Its blockchain is secure by a staggering amount of increasing computing power, making it the de facto metric system of cryptocurrencies today. Moreover, despite price volatility and being unbacked, one Bitcoin will always equal one Bitcoin. But more importantly, there is no central authority that can change the rules. This makes it the world's most politically neutral form of money ever, and an ideal foundation to build not only applications but a new global economy. Ginko also said that Bitcoin goes well, so Russia doesn't consider issuing gold-backed stablecoins since gold is a USD-based asset, and its valuation and opportunities to sell this asset might be very limited in case of new U.S. sanctions, he said. I never thought about that, actually. Gold is highly risky, unstable asset for Russia. Wow. So then why is Russia buying so much gold if the precious metal is still largely controlled by the U.S.? Well, it says, Ginko says here, the reason has more to do with domestic gold mining industry. Ginko says the gold accrued by Russia's central banks looks significantly only in physical terms, but in relative terms, this is a minor fraction of total reserves, less than 19%. The main reason of Russia gold buying is to support the gold market. In 2018, Russia exported only 5.4%. That's 3.4 times less than it did in 2017. So a huge amount of this domestic metal output was bought out by the central banks. Here's my two Satoshis on this situation and this topic. I think that Bitcoin is by far more superior asset than gold, and especially in today's society. We live in a very advanced society as far as technology. Everything is primarily run off of the internet, and nothing is really physical anymore. So, if we're in this age, then Bitcoin is definitely more superior. As I've stated during the last article that we read today, don't trust but verify. And so with Bitcoin, we can mathematically verify that there are only 21 million coins. In the case with gold or any other precious metal, we really don't know how much gold there is underground. We know how much roughly is above ground, but we don't know how much gold is below ground. We could find a new gold mine that just dwarfs the supply or puts a huge dent on what's above ground. So at any point we could find more gold, and that's an unknown. That number, that supply side of gold or any other precious metal is pretty much unknown. That by itself to me makes Bitcoin a more stable and secure means of holding wealth, because we know exactly how many coins there can ever be. That's just one reason. This article states another, and I never even thought about how gold is highly concentrated and controlled from a price perspective by the US. Any country that's looking to start their own cryptocurrency, they're only doing that out of selfish reasons, but eventually if stuff really hits the fan, they're going to have to pick Bitcoin. Creating a new coin is just a way for them to try to control things themselves, but that ultimately will not allow a true price discovery on a digital asset. You have to use something that's in theory pretty decentralized. It's not fully decentralized, but it's decentralized, I think, enough at this point to really be able to create a truer price discovery in the market, in the open market. So you guys let me know, what do you think? Is a gold-backed China coin or Russia coin coming, or will they just use Bitcoin or back their coin by Bitcoin? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. That's pretty much it for today, ladies and gents. Again, shout out to my man Rude Mud Crab for the song requests, presets, all of my people. It's your boy Crypto Blood, and that's my 2 Satoshis for April 16th, 2019. I'm out here, people. Ha!